All right, what's up, everyone? We're going to go over my KDP 2022 income report today, the first year in review. So, this is actually my first full year doing Amazon KDP. I started in 2021, but I did not take it seriously until this year. And so, today I want to share exactly how much I made. I want to show you some interesting breakdowns to just show you the process and what you should expect if you're starting from nothing, as well as a good goal moving forward that I've set for myself, and maybe you could set as well if you're following a similar journey. But first, I want to give you some context because everybody's situation is different. Some people have a lot of money when they start this business, some people do it with nothing. And so I think knowing my situation will help you better compare my situation to your situations to see how you can build this business moving forward. And so the first thing I want to address is this is actually my first long YouTube video after 7 months of not posting. And during those 7 months, I was really just experimenting with the platform. Now, I did not go into KDP full time. I do have a full time job. And so I would say my actual time spent on doing KDP is probably not more than 100 hours of focused work. And so as a result, I have a lot of fixed costs because I did not create a lot of the books myself. I hired people to create these books. And these were what I called all content books. I had low content books, medium content books, and high content books. Now, this year, I actually ended up taking a course on Amazon KDP, which focused on high content books. And so that's what I ended up making a lot of. I have one medium content book, which surprisingly did quite well. And so without further ado, then let's go into my results. Um, so here it is, $1,124.76. Keep in mind that this is only 10 books because, again, I did not spend that much time throughout the year on this. I only spent about 100 hours, not even, of focused work creating these 10 books, but mainly it was liaising with different contractors. I didn't create a lot of the stuff myself. And so you'll notice a progression, right? Nothing in January. In February, I got a ghostwriter on board to kind of test the water. So we wrote quite a short book. And so I was actually pretty quiet in March and April. I spent my time taking that course I mentioned on Amazon KDP. And so in May, I actually published my first high content book, which is a 30,000 word book, which to me was a flop because over the next few months, it's made me probably like $50 a month or so. And so I got super discouraged by that, which I recommend you do not get discouraged ever because as you can see, I actually had another book in the pipeline, but because I got discouraged, I actually didn't publish that book until August, right? And so August, I published my second book, and then immediately I started seeing sales. September, it grew. And in October, I actually published another book. Quarter four was definitely doing well for me. In December, I made about $300 across these 10 books, right? And that's the reason why I am doing high content books is because I see some people have to publish 100 low content books before they even um, see their first sale a lot of the times. But I think what's even more interesting is me showing you the breakdown of these books, right? And so here it is, right? Before 2022, I kind of was just following YouTube advice and creating a bunch of low content books, right? Like your notebooks, your blank journals. And in the last 12 months, I kid you not, they only made me $32. And that's probably because I didn't do any sort of keyword research. I had no idea what I was doing, right? I published a book in 2021, which was kind of like a blank notebook. I got a sale and I was like, hey, cool, I'll just keep doing this like 80 more times. And then I stopped getting sales. And so I stopped publishing. And so my real kind of first and second book was just me testing the waters, right? And in just about 10 months, I made about $76.30 on those two books, right? These are two books, quite short, about 10, 15,000 words each. And so by my third book, I was totally like, I'm ready for this. My next book is going to hit it. I'm going to be a millionaire. And obviously it flopped. And that's what discouraged me for a couple of months. But my fourth book, right, in just 5 months, made me $560, right? And so this is a book that I was actually pretty confident with, even going into making, because I found a profitable keyword. I knew that I could create something that was just a little bit different, a little bit more updated than the competition. Okay, so my fifth and seventh high content book actually made me $94 altogether, and they just haven't been out for enough time for me to tell you whether or not they're profitable. But I do want to mention that I got the ideas for my third, fourth, fifth, and seventh book at the same time, all the way back in April. I created outlines for all of these books in April. And so I would not recommend you do this because every time you publish, you're going to have time to observe, get feedback, learn, and become better. And so if you do what I do, then effectively your third, fourth, fifth, and seventh book is gonna be like your first book, right? You don't have the knowledge, skills, and experience yet, so don't go crazy. And I went crazy, and so I'm paying for that now, right? Now my sixth book is interesting. My sixth book is purely passion project, right? It's a medium content book, and the unique thing about my sixth book is I wrote half of it, right? It had some work that I had to outsource because I couldn't create on my own, but it had some work that I could do on my own, right? Like I was writing it myself. And in the last 4 months, I was quite surprised because this sixth book cost me the least to make because I made half of it, right? And the time that I spent making that half, probably about like 4.5, 5 hours. But in the last 4 months, it made me $312.99. This is not the end, right? Um, I had to run ads. And so it was my first year. I had no idea what I was doing. I've learned, and so now I kind of have an idea what I'm doing. But I definitely overspent on ads in my first year, $709. That definitely cut into the money that I could have made. I had an A cost that was not breaking even across the board. And then we're not going to talk about ad strategy in this video, but I do want to show you my A costs for all my books, right? So they're over the board, right? I probably learned more by creating these campaigns and monitoring their results and trying to adjust than I did in taking the course. And so that's what I recommend you do is to just start small. Start with an auto campaign and then go from there. Don't try to go crazy in the beginning. Okay. Now, so before I go on to my next year's goals, I do want to bring up a term called contribution margin. And so at this point, a lot of people like to say profits, right? Like I made $1,100, I spent 700 on ads, so I have a profit of 400, right? Wrong. This $400 is contributing to recovering the fixed costs that I spent creating these books, right? So some people spend their time making books, some people spend their money. I chose to spend money because I can make that back in the future. I can't make back my time. And so my goal for next year, and I think this should be the goal for anybody that is building a business this way, right? Like if you're not creating books yourself, if you're hiring out to create books and you have a cost of book creation, like a fixed cost, this should really be your goal, right? Your next year's goal is to become self-funding, right? So I've calculated in my mind that in order for my book business to never really need a penny from me again, right, to grow, I would need to net about $1,000 a month, right? So this is revenue after ads. And so you should figure out if you're only doing the things you enjoy for this book business, then how big are your expenses going to be every single month that you would need to continue to put into the business to keep it growing. That should be the amount of money that you should aim to make. So I'm going to sum this up with 3 takeaways. Takeaway number 1, keep publishing. You don't know how well your book is going to do until you publish the book. Takeaway number 2, focus on high content quality books and not low content books, because it's going to end up being much easier to make money with these books. And then takeaway number 3, figure out your self-funding number. You want to make this business be able to fund itself. And so if you enjoyed this lesson, if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below. I'm curious how you are doing on your KDP journey. And if you want to follow along on what I'm doing in the future next year, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.